And welcome back to the Ouachita Sports Digital Network. And we're on a bit of a quick start. Welcome back, as right now the 400 medley relay for the women is going on right now between the Ouachita Tiger Sharks and the Montevallo Falcons. As you can see right now, Ouachita leading in lane 4, finishing off in the final 100, the second to last 100. That'll be Rachel Del Angel. Del Angel is a senior with the Tiger Sharks. This is her third year, though. Will be graduating in May. Meanwhile, following close behind, you see in lane 5, that's Kiara McGee, the 20-year-old for the Falcons. And then right there, Ouachita bringing in their fourth leg. That's Britta Andrus, younger sister of Tyler Andrus, who you'll see later today in the 200 freestyle and 500. Andrus goes into her first turn with a wide margin. The freshman has found a big stake for herself in this team this season, has been thrust into a large role and has done very well at it this year. Right now, she is on the brink of taking yet another win in a dual meet this year for her squad if she can finish out in this last 50. Closing in, though, on her, Cypress Wilkinson. Wilkinson, the senior out of Lake Charles, Louisiana, a little bit closer to home with this meet, just about 6 hours down the road, contrary to where Birmingham is compared to Lake Charles, but finishing the race, Britta Andrus. In lane 4, she gets a time of 4:03.11 for her team. Coming in third, the Ouachita B relay finished off by Sophie Derby. And then coming in fourth, that'll be Elise Henderson, the captain of this Lady Tiger Shark squad, finishing in fourth for the C relay. Now, though, here is the squad to look out for. The men's 400-yard medley relay. Looking in lane 4, that'll be Ouachita. And Ouachita will be taking up the majority of this race. They'll be in lane 4, lane 3, lane 2, and lane 6. Meanwhile, in lane 5, Montevallo will be coming with the best that they have. And the relay is off. Right now, the guys to look for, Ethan Sparks heading up the A relay for the Tiger Sharks. Sparks has had himself a productive 2 years. This is his second year for the Tiger Sharks. Sparks, the sophomore out of Grapevine, Texas, hoping to bring his team to a win. Meanwhile, looking at Montevallo, Elijah Allen, the freshman, hoping to bring home a win for his squad today. Allen is a freshman. But going into the second leg right now, it looks like it is all Sparks with just a short lead, though, for the B relay. Then coming off now for the Tiger Shark, that looks like it's going to be Miles Schultz. You looking into Schultz, he's the captain of this team. He's the senior. He's been around for a while. But looking over now, you see in lane 6, that'll be Jambor Budosho. Budosho now a sophomore for the Tiger Sharks. He has been a solid swimmer across the board. IMer for the squad. This breaststroke leg getting very tight right now. Still anyone's game between Schultz and Budosho. And with this butterfly leg coming up, it'll be between Michael Higgins, this freshman, and the sophomore David Ware for the B relay. Meanwhile, looking over at Montevallo, this third leg will be where Alexei Koleshnikov, the sophomore out of Russia, will be unleashed upon the world. As you see Higgins going into his second 50 with a short lead over Ware. This A and B relay looks to be the biggest competition we've seen in this meet up to this point. Going into the final 25, it's going to be Ware. Look at that underwater, and David Ware is going to come out just barely on top, and he's going to leave this final 100 up to the freestyle legs as both of them hit the water at the same time. Sam Ragsdale racing up against teammate Ian Redman. Ragsdale, the junior out of Columbia, Missouri. Going into this final 50, Ragsdale has the lead on Redman, but this final flip turn is going to tell it all. Ragsdale still got him, but Redman's going to be a close second. Meanwhile, Montevallo hoping to take down the D relay for the Tiger Sharks. And finishing off, that's going to be all Ouachita. Now though, coming up next, it's going to be, sit back and relax, folks. We've got ourselves a long one. The women's 1,000 freestyle and the men's 1,000 freestyle is going to be combined. So looking on the women's side, you've got Caitlin Kelly and Liz Davis for the Falcons, and then Kate McCown will be representing the Tiger Sharks on the women's side. And then on the men's side, Knox St. Amant and Ben Johnson will be on the outside of star freshman Daniel Metzeros. Metzeros this season already has a conference swimmer of the month under his belt, but going for some conference titles in February, he's going to be dangerous in this event. He's yet to swim it this season at a no time, but with his elusive experience, and not just the 500 but the 200 freestyle, he has every reason to be feared going into this event. And they're off. And you look at all these swimmers in the pool right now, and you already see Metzeros jumping out to a large gap, and that's just about what he does, folks. He'll take an easy, quick lead, and then he'll coast on that for a while. One thing that these swimmers will definitely benefit on next to him will look to be trying to ride his wave a little bit, because he's going to be going quickly. If you can just catch a little bit of his wave and stay up behind him, that's always a good strategy. But as Metzeros just keeps going, it's going to be harder and harder to ride that wave if he is miles ahead of you. Meanwhile, on the women's side, in the mid, it's going to be right now all Kate McCown. McCown, while not tall in stature, has had herself an incredible career for the Tiger Sharks just due to her incredible endurance. One thing you'll see about McCown, her stroke rate continuing to get better, taking less and less strokes per 25, and yet she can keep up the incredible speed of those strokes because she doesn't get tired. And you see that now, just taking an immense lead on these much taller swimmers on the girls' side just because of her ability to keep going. And, I mean, you can see Metzeros already taking a sizable gap over these two Montevallo swimmers. Right now, St. Amant and Johnson just trying their best to catch up to the freshmen, but so far not getting very close. One thing that you have to admire when looking at this men's team, obviously Metzeros a big factor in that, has to be their timeless success this season. This is the best Ouachita swim team that this men's squad has ever seen, ranking now in the most recent December coaches poll 13th in the nation. And as Metzeros continues to win in this race, he's gonna bring another win to a squad that has just never stopped going all season. Meanwhile, this women's team, they gained a ranking earlier this season in the November rankings for the top 25. They have fallen out since, but some immense improvement since in these past couple of years has definitely put them in a position to have success in the future, especially with swimmers like we talked about with Britta Andrus as the freshman. She looks to be a leader in what looks to be a very promising future for these girls of the Tiger Sharks. So far, just about crossing the 3-minute mark for these guys. Metzeros not letting up one bit. He wants to make a statement here at Wagner Pool. And on the women's side, it's the same for Kate McCown. She's taking another sizable margin. Ouachita making it known that they are the home squad, and that also might have something to do with the travel that the Falcons have had to go through today. So for those that were expecting us to be on a little bit earlier, this meet was supposed to start at 6 o'clock tonight, but due to travel and just the long drive from Montevallo, Alabama, the Falcons did not arrive at Wagner Pool until around 7:15, which means they had a very short warm-up, and so now they've only been in the pool for about 35 to 40 minutes to this point. And that definitely could have a reason on why these swimmers just look a little bit slow to get up so far to start this meet. Meanwhile, Ouachita, they've been in the pool since around 6 o'clock today, and they've been warming up, they've been swimming, and they've stayed vigilant. And I mean, you see that in these performances on both the men's and women's side. And then you saw that especially in that men's 400-yard relay, where you just saw the A and B relays just absolutely dominate over a Montevallo relay that just was not ready for that type of success. Another big storyline coming, though, for both of these teams. Montevallo and Ouachita, former conference foes, as close as last year. Both of these teams competed in the New South Intercollegiate Swim Conference, but the Falcons making a drastic move to start the year, moving over to Conference of the Carolinas, leaving what had already been a small conference. And now, on the men's side, only 3 teams making up this conference: Henderson State, Delta State, and Ouachita. Meanwhile, on the women's side, you can add West Florida to those teams. And the NSISC in a very dangerous position up to this point, possibly in a position where they might need to combine or look for possible new teams, because in the past couple of years, they've lost UT Permian Basin, Oklahoma Baptist, and Montevallo now. And when you continue to lose teams like that, it's just going to make conference less and less competitive. Now with just 3 teams on that men's side in contention for a conference title. And meanwhile, I know you're kind of getting used to me saying this, but meanwhile, Metzeros and Kate McCown continue to dominate, just over halfway for both of these teams. Metzeros probably a little bit further. And just continuing dominance. This Ouachita team went into Henderson State, a perennial powerhouse in this conference, earlier this season and took them down. They've beaten Delta State in 2 different arenas. They beat Delta State here at Wagner Pool earlier this year when I was on the call, but then they went to Delta State for a mid-season invitational and took down all competing teams. The Tiger Sharks coming off a big win in Pensacola at the Argo Winter Classic. The men's team taking down William Carey in a dual meet, but then looking over on the women's side, the things looking very similar. On the women's side, Ouachita taking wins over East Central Community College and William Carey. And while West Florida did take down the Lady Tiger Sharks, this West Florida Argonauts team has just shown to be what is a perennial powerhouse in Division II women's swimming. There you see on the blocks, though, warming up for the 200 freestyle. And if you guys are wanting to see some fun and exciting swimming, that's where you're going to get it. Ouachita last season at conference had not one, not two, not three, but 4 swimmers finish under the 140 mark in the 200 freestyle at conference. And so this is an event that the Tiger Sharks are very familiar with. And so with this event getting very close to finishing up, Metzeros likely within a minute and a half of hitting that finish, of hitting that final lap. And we'll see with the bell ring in just a couple minutes. It will be interesting to see how this women's 200 freestyle comes up. Anna Phelps and Morgan Alexandria, both of them boasting a 157 on the season. Ouachita's own Phelps has had herself an incredible year and not typically known for swimming the 200 freestyle too often. She's typically in more longer events or possibly IM events. But Phelps now taking that 157 into an event, as well as Morgan hoping to take down Phelps. Meanwhile, Elise Henderson, the senior, just behind them with a 158. So if you guys are in for some exciting swimming, that event is for you, is for all of us. We're excited for that one to come on, as Metzeros very likely entering what looks to be his final 250s. And then you see McCown over there just continuing dominance. That's just really all you can say for this 1,000, because that's just how Ouachita has continued to perform, continuing their dominance in this conference and now in these distance events. Now, though, with Metzeros swimming the 1,000, head coach Stephen Bostic, especially with the time that Metzeros looks to be getting, Bostic will now also have the ability to look at his swimmers this season. He's got a good amount of swimmers that have swam the 1,000 already. But now, with the 1,000 being an event where you need to get times during the season, since it's not a prelims finals event at conference, now Bostic has the weapon of Metzeros that he can wield at any time in the 1,000 if he feels the need to. You look into the 1,000 this season, head coach Stephen Bostic has himself a plethora of weapons. Obviously, Tyler Andrus and Anthony Pakulba being the 2 leaders in that, both of them finishing in a 9:36 and 9:37 respectively, which will put them very close to being a finals qualifier for the 1,000. And then you see Metzeros there finishing at a 9:45, which also puts him 3rd on the team this season. Metzeros in a Speedo doing that, I may remark. So just a great time for him. That's averaging under 30 seconds of 50. And if you look at that time, that most likely, if you look at last season's conference, will put him in the top 8 if he so chooses to be put in the 1,000 at conference. And that is always the most important thing when it comes to this. Just making sure that you have a good amount of weapons that at your disposal at conference. McCown, though, finishing up, Kate McCown over in lane 3, 11:04. That'll be her best time this season. That's a 10-second drop for the senior, and what an incredible year for her now. Now with Montevallo's swimmers finishing up, you'll see Kaylin Kelly and Liz Davis getting their final times here. Now though, let's preview this women's 200-yard freestyle. You see on the blocks, lane 2, that'll be Tiffany Nordstrom. Nordstrom for the Tiger Sharks. She is a sophomore out of McKinney, Texas. Then looking at Casey Lopez, the freshman out of Lufkin, Texas. Anna Phelps, we already talked a little bit about her, but Phelps, the sophomore out of Marlton, New Jersey, a long way from home, but has still given her team an incredible amount of success. And in lane 5, Alexandria Morgan. Morgan, the freshman out of Birmingham, Alabama. And then finishing up in lane 6, that'll be the senior captain, Elise Henderson. Henderson has had an incredible career for the Tiger Sharks, finishing up this year. She's a senior out of Columbia, Missouri. And as the girls line up on the blocks, let's see what they can do in these 450s. Great start off for all of them, but popping up out of the water first, Anna Phelps is going to take a quick lead. Phelps has been known to go out on these quickly because of her ability to get out and go in these distance events. Meanwhile, though, one swimmer to never count out is Henderson over in lane 6. Elise Henderson has a lot of maturity with these events, and she knows how to pace herself well. And so just because she's not going to go out as quickly as everyone else does not mean that you don't need to watch out for her in that final 100. Henderson has plenty of times done the same thing in the 500s and the 1000s before, and with those long strokes, she has the ability to do it here. Phelps, though, she's got a good start off, got just a little bit under a body length over Morgan. And going into the second half, Henderson gaining on Alexandria Morgan. Meanwhile, though, it's all Anna Phelps up to this point. One thing to also look out for, who can maintain those underwaters in this back half. The swimmers that can keep underwaters and get a little bit of momentum off these turns are the ones that are going to succeed. And you see Phelps get 2 dolphin kicks in there, and that's exactly why she has even more than a body length over the rest of the crowd. In this final 50, she's going in under 2-minute pace. Can she break her season best? It's Phelps, Henderson. Just like I said, Elise Henderson, this final 50. She's looking in second. This final turn will tell all. And what a great turn by her, but Alexandria Morgan trailing quickly. Look at that kick by Elise Henderson. And Anna Phelps is going to finish up in a 158.66, and Elise Henderson is going to be the second place finisher. Ouachita goes 1-2 in that event, and that just is another step onto this dominance over this Falcon team, just experiencing a little bit of jet lag from the road trip up to this point still. Now time for the men's 200-yard freestyle. This will be heat 1 in lane 3. That'll be David Pannell. Lane 4, Miles Schultz. You don't typically see him here. In lane 5, Landon Den. In lane 6, Colton Martinez. All 4 of these guys, Ouachita swimmers. Pannell, a sophomore out of Houston, Texas. And then obviously Miles Schultz being one of the biggest names on this squad. He's a senior out of Prosper, Texas. Landon Den, though, he's a freshman out of Wiley, Texas. And Colton Martinez rounding out the group for the Tiger Sharks. He's a sophomore out of Trophy Club, Texas. After the first 50, it's neck and neck. Martinez, though, he's got the most experience in distance events, but I would not count out on that far edge David Pannell. He's a guy that can swim distance as well. Martinez has a little bit of a wingspan advantage on him, but Pannell, you've seen the fight in him before. Meanwhile, Miles Schultz, you don't really know what to expect out of the guy. He's a All-American breaststroker, but today head coach Stephen Bostic said, why not? We'll throw my senior captain in the 200-yard freestyle. So good for him, I guess. Meanwhile, it's Martinez versus Pannell. Anyone's game up to this point. In this final 50, it's Colton Martinez. And Martinez has that experience to go with his success in the 200-yard freestyle. He swam the 800 free relay for this squad last year at conference, so he knows what he's doing, and he's definitely executing on it. Look at those dolphin kicks to finish out this final 25. Martinez now hoping to get under 150 here in what looks to be a solid start to a dual meet for him, and just barely misses the 150 mark. Pinnell's going to get second, and then right next to David Pinnell, that'll be Miles Schultz. Good for him. Nice 156 for him, and then Landon Den is going to finish just above the 2-minute threshold at a 2:00:76. Now, though, the main event in lane 2, it'll be Caleb Guthrie. Lane 3, it'll be Jacob Lewis. Lane 4, Tyler Andrus. Lane 5, Enrique Lorenz for Montevallo. Lane 6, Ian Redmond. And lane 7, Ethan Sparks. The guy to look out for here, lane 4, Tyler Andrus. Andrus has been a very incredible swimmer for this team for many years. Andrus, a captain of this squad. He, like we talked about earlier, he is the top swimmer in the 1,000 for this team this season, but Andrus came in as a great 200 freestyler and just barely eclipses that 140 threshold that he's trying to beat at conference once again this year. Andrus, though, what a great start off for him. He's staying consistent like the distance swimmer he is. One thing you're going to notice about Andrus is every single 25 looks exactly the same. That is the mark of a good distance swimmer, folks, as Andrus goes into this second 100 with a sizable lead over the crowd. And Enrique Lorenz in lane 5, just slightly with a lead over Jacob Lewis in lane 3. Lewis is one of the biggest success stories for head coach Stephen Bostic over his time here at Ouachita. As a freshman, was just slightly under the threshold to make the conference team, but now has made himself known to be one of the guys that will always be in contention for a conference spot. Going into this final 50, it's anyone's race for second. Meanwhile, it's all Tyler Andrus in the front. That's exactly what you expect out of that junior. We talked about his younger sister, Britta, but Tyler Andrus continuing to be an integral piece to this lineup. This junior out of Fort Worth, Texas, finishes off in a time of 1:42. What a way to do it, too, in the Speedo. Great time for him, as Lorenz is going to take second, and then in third, that'll be Jacob Lewis. Montevallo really needed that second. Great time for Lorenz, barely getting under that 150 mark. And now it's time, folks, for the quick events. This will be the first heat of the women's 50 freestyle. In lane 3, that's Mia Ross. Lane 4, Jamison Tankersley. And lane 5, Adele Brandrup. The lone Ouachita swimmer here, Jamison Tankersley. Tankersley is a junior out of Conway, Arkansas, and she has been an integral part to the relays for this Ouachita squad. You saw her in action earlier for the backstroke leg of that A relay, and now she's swimming the 50 freestyle, an event that she doesn't typically swim, but here she says, okay, give it to me. I'm gonna take the win in this 50-yard freestyle. Tankersley just takes it all for herself. What a time for her, 26:36, and she stakes her claim and even possibly might put herself in the top 3 in times for the meet. Now, though, looking forward to Heat 2, the woman to watch, that's Didi Christensen. Christensen, a 19-year-old senior, yes, I said it, a 19-year-old senior, is coming off a season where she made nationals in the 100-yard butterfly, but she is nothing to scoff at in the 50-yard freestyle this season, boasting a 24.6. Meanwhile, Zena Zanders and Tabitha Nalepa, 2 freshmen out of Montevallo, trying their best to beat Christensen at her own game. Meanwhile, though, Didi Christensen, she's got him at the turn by a good margin. And Didi Christensen, what an underwater for her. But looking over in lane 6, she's got some competition by Kaylee Sticka. And going into the wall, Didi Christensen. Just like you would expect, but Kaylee Sticka, what a performance for her. And she's going to go ahead and take second for the event. Ouachita, that's another 1-2 for the Tiger Sharks. Now though, let's shift our focus to this quick moving swim meet. We're very close to the 8:15 mark of the night. In lane 2, Theo Scarpino for Ouachita, Chase Fitcher for Montevallo, Jack Hoyen for Ouachita. In lane 4, Topher Van Gorder for Montevallo in lane 5, and Tyler Bell for Ouachita in lane 6. Right now, it looks to be Scarpino. He has a time of 22:49 on the season, and he's got a big lead, but you see Hoyen right there. Who is gonna finish? It's gonna be Scarpino, and closely behind him is Jack Hoyen. Moving on though to the main event for the men, Rafael Bastillo in lane 4 is the guy to look out for, but then Alexei Kalashnikov, the junior out of Russia, just over that 20-second mark in the 50 freestyle, hoping to beat it tonight. Bastillo's in lane 4, Kalashnikov in lane 5. That's the race to look for here as they dive off the block. Kalashnikov, what a great start, but Bastillo's got those arms moving. Kalashnikov into the turn, he's got the lead. After the underwaters, it's all Alexei Kalashnikov. Can Bastillo get him on the back half? And no, Kalashnikov is going to win the race. That'll be Montevallo's first win of the night. A time of 21:85 is the junior out of Russia. Meanwhile, Bastillo's gonna gain second, and third goes to the Falcons as well with Jimmy Frank. Montevallo getting a crucial event win there, as just nothing can be stopped by the duo of Kalashnikov and Frank. Now though, this meet won't stop. Let's go to the 200-yard IM. Heat 1, it'll be all Montevallo swimmers. Lane 3, Ella Brooke Beasley. Lane 4, Cypress Wilkinson. And lane 5, Gillian Cherushi. Looking a little bit into this Montevallo squad, when you think of Montevallo, one famous alumni that you quite possibly could be thinking of and hoping that he might be listening now to this point, that would be Jacob Rubin. Rubin now has graduated from the college ranks, but spent a year at Florida Atlantic, where he was one of the best 50 freestylers in Division I. Now he has gone professionally up to this point, but Rubin, a big alumni for this Falcons squad, and really took some time to develop in this program, and now has burst onto the scene and is now annually one of the top swimmers in the nation in the 50 free. In this 200-yard IM right now, Wilkinson, she's got a slight lead going into the breaststroke leg over Cherushi. Looking forward to this next heat, you've got Keely Holcomb, the debut for her in her individual event. Holcomb this season is part of the two-headed monster that is her and Anna Phelps for this women's Ouachita squad. Her and Anna Phelps have really been the two swimmers to look out for on this women's side. And I mean, both of them incredible IMers. Tonight you're going to get to see her, Keely Holcomb's talents. They put her in the breaststroke for that medley relay, but that's just because she can be good. She's been good at just about every stroke under the sun this season, and the breaststroke is definitely one of those strokes. Looking though at Montevallo in their past meets, their last time out, they took on Delta State in a dual meet. Delta State ended up winning that one for both sides. And now into this final heat, into this final 25, it's anyone's event. Going into the finish, that's going to be lane 4, Cypress Wilkinson taking the narrow win over Jillian Cherushi. And then finishing in third is Ella Brooke Beasley. Now though, folks, in lane 1 for Montevallo, that's Maha Krosic. And in lane 2, that's Monica McMahon for Ouachita. Lane 3 for Montevallo, Hannah Person. Lane 4, the woman of the hour for Ouachita, Keely Holcomb. Then in lane 5 for Montevallo, Kiara McGee. Lane 6 for Ouachita, the senior Emma Ballantyne. And lane 7 for Montevallo, Stella Newton. They're in the water right now, and Keely Holcomb doing what she's known for, winning races. Going after this first turn, it's all Keely Holcomb, but following decently closely behind her is Kiara McGee. McGee, the junior out of St. Augustine, Florida, hoping to give Holcomb a run for her money today. But at the flip turn for the backstroke, it's all Keely Holcomb. The race now looks to be for third place. That first place looks to be locked up if Holcomb can take the breaststroke. But right now, it's the battle between the two outsides for third. Stella Newton battling with her teammate right now, Maya Krosic. Now it's the breaststroke leg, and what a pullout for Holcomb as she takes a commanding lead. You looked for a second like McGee was going to gain a leg up in that backstroke, but Keely Holcomb, as she makes this turn, watch her pull out for this breaststroke. Look how much distance she gets, and that's exactly why she's so successful. That's her second pullout. You can tell she's losing breath, but even so, she's gonna go out to that 10-meter mark. And going into this final 50, Holcomb continuing to lead here, but you even see Emma Ballantyne sneaking up on the competition. She's in third now, and the senior is not gonna stop at third. Ballantyne trailing McGee. If she wants number 2, she's gotta have a great final 25 into this turn. Ballantyne and McGee. McGee's got half a body length on her. Keely Holcomb finishes with a time of 2:13, and Kiara McGee is gonna take second shortly in front of Emma Ballantyne with a time of 2:21. Now switching to the men's variety of this event, we've got Heat 1, where lane 4 it'll be Ethan Smith, followed by senior Bennett Bibza. Both of these swimmers staples in the Ouachita program. Smith, this is his 3rd year for the squad, and Bibza, this is his 4th year. Looking into both of these swimmers, Bibza, the senior out of Southlake, Texas, Southlake Carroll High School, and then Ethan Smith from right down the road. Ethan Smith, the junior out of Piercy, Arkansas, an alumni of Lake Hamilton High School. Ethan Smith, he's got a small lead over Bibza up to this point, but right now it's still anyone's race. The big thing to look for, it will be who can win this breaststroke leg. Both of these swimmers, talented breaststrokers. So if Bibza can gain a leg up on Smith in the breaststroke, it'll be all up to the freestyle on who has the endurance. And you see both of these swimmers, different approaches to the stroke of breaststroke. Bibza, he's got a bit quicker of a stroke rate. Meanwhile, Smith, his stroke rate isn't as fast, but he's gaining a lot of distance on these strokes, and that's the magic of breaststroke. You can have two different looks of a stroke, but they can both be just as vital, as Bibza is actually going to take the short advantage over Smith going into this final 50. And Bennett Bibza, look at that kick. He's maintaining the lead, and he looks like he's going to keep it going into this final length here. And Bennett Bibza what a race for him. He's going to finish at the 2:03 mark. 2:03.94 is the senior's time. Meanwhile, 2:05.97 is the time for Smith. Now moving on to heat number 2. In lane 2 for Ouachita, that'll be Walker Bridenstine. In lane 3, Derek McDonald for Montevallo. Lane 4, Anthony Paculba for Ouachita. Lane 5, Enrique Lawrence for Montevallo. Lane 6 for Ouachita, Angel Medina. And in lane 7, Ethan Brewer for Montevallo. Paculba had a solid freshman year for Ouachita before a shoulder injury limited his progress that year, then taking a year off last year to come back now to be one of the top swimmers for Ouachita in his junior season. Paculba has been an interesting story to say the least, but now coming into this season has been a huge success story for this squad. And now Paculba, which he wanted me to mention for you guys, that he does have a sprained ankle, so he might be a little bit down today, but as you can see, that's not limiting him whatsoever, as going into this final 100, he's got more than a body length over the crowd. Meanwhile, for second, it's anyone's game, but if I had to tell you who it would be, I'd give it to Bridenstine so far. He's got just slightly an advantage, but this breaststroke leg is what's really going to tell. Angel Medina, a very talented breaststroker, so this is where he's going to look to make a move. And Anthony Paculba, he might be crippled, but he's definitely still winning this one. And going into this final 50, he does not want to be caught. And right now, the battle for second, that'll be between Walker Bridenstine and then over in lane 5, Enrique Lawrence. Right now, Lawrence looks like he's got the slight advantage, and with Derek McDonald looking to make a move for third, Bridenstine has the look that he might relinquish even the podium here. Paculba, though, an incredible time, 1:57.1 is going to be his time. No injury limiting for him. Slaps the water on the win, and then second place, way behind Paculba by 10 seconds, is going to go to Lawrence. But Anthony Paculba, the story of tonight for Ouachita, continuing to push through injury to win this race. And folks, this is where we were going to take a 10-minute break, but with the arrival time switching a little bit, who has time for breaks here at Waggoner Pool? And now it's time for the women's 100-yard butterfly. You see the swimmers stepping up on the blocks, so I'll go ahead and introduce them for you. In lane 1, Alexandria Morgan. Lane 2, Anna Phelps. You saw her earlier in the 200-yard freestyle. Lane 3 is Liz Davis for Montevallo. Lane 4, Rachel Del Angel for Ouachita. In lane 5, Jillian Cherushi for Montevallo. Lane 6, Didi Christensen for Ouachita. And in lane 7, Stella Newton for Montevallo. So Ouachita not sparing any expense for this 100-yard butterfly event. They're bringing in all the stops. Not just Anna Phelps, but they're also bringing in Rachel Del Angel and Didi Christensen. So this event has some of the best butterflyers in the conference competing. Christensen actually taking this event all the way to Ohio last year, where she competed in nationals in this event. So she'll be the swimmer to look out for. But Rachel Del Angel, actually the one with the fastest time on the season for the Lady Tiger Sharks, with a time of 57:48 as her seed time. And she will actually be in lane 4 for her team. Meanwhile, you look across at Montevallo, and the girl to look out for them is going to be Jillian Cherushi. She's got a seed time of 59:3, hoping to stay under that minute mark here. And off the block now, let's see who comes out of the water first. And right now, it's a battle between lane 6, Didi Christensen, and Rachel Del Angel. That's exactly what we expected because of both of their abilities to go out quickly. But Anna Phelps also providing us some good competition for the two. Phelps has typically been more of a 200 butterflyer instead of a 100 butterflyer, but she has the ability to come out fast and definitely give you a run for your money in these sprint events. Right now, though, it's all three of them. Anna Phelps might have the slight advantage. This final underwater is really going to tell the story. And out of the water first is Phelps, barely, with Christensen and Del Angel right behind. But the point of this all is it's all Ouachita. They're going to finish 1, 2, 3. It all just depends on the order. Anna Phelps first, Didi Christensen second, and Rachel Del Angel. The Tiger Sharks, they don't want first, they don't want second, they don't want third, they want all of them, and they're going to take all of them. Anna Phelps actually being the one to take number 1, followed by Christensen and Del Angel. Now for the men's event, this will be Heat 1. Lane 3 is Gavin Bolton for the Tiger Sharks. Lane 4, Blaze Hood for the Tiger Sharks. Lane 5, Colton Martinez for the Tiger Sharks. And lane 6 is Fernando Bastillo for, I know you guessed it, the Tiger Sharks. The man to look out for in the pool right now, Blaze Hood. He's got the fastest seed time for the event, and the junior goes a 50.24 on the season. We'll see if he can get close to that tonight without the Speedo on. Meanwhile, you saw Colton Martinez win Heat 1 of the men's 200-yard freestyle, and this will be Fernando Bastillo's first action of the night in this 100 butterfly. You expect to see him more later on in that 100 breaststroke event. Excuse me, he'll be actually in the 200-yard freestyle relay, but still, Bastillo has been utilized very heavily in those events, but finishing first in this one, that will be as expected, Blaze Hood. But then right behind him, great performance for Colton Martinez, and then in third, Bolton, and then in fourth, Bastillo. Now moving on to the main event for the Tiger Sharks. In lane 1, Knox St. Amant for the Falcons. In lane 2, Vince Pal for the Tiger Sharks. In lane 3, Chase Fisher for the Falcons. Lane 4, Daniel Metzeros for Ouachita. Lane 5, Alexei Koleshnikov for Montevallo. Lane 6, Michael Higgins for Ouachita. And lane 7, Elijah Allen for Montevallo. The race to look out for is going to be Metzeros versus Koleshnikov. Both of these guys have had incredible seasons for their teams. Both of them, two of the top swimmers in the conference. It's anyone's race between those two, and the race that everyone has really been looking to watch tonight. Obviously, you still got Powell as well in lane 2, but also Michael Higgins, the freshman, has also burst onto the scene. And right now, in lane 4, it's all Metzeros. He is yet to swim this event this season, but another great performance for him as he's going to finish at 50. That's a win for him. Koleshnikov gaining second, Higgins in third, and then in fourth over in lane 2 is Vince Pal. Ouachita is going to go 1-3-4 in this event. Koleshnikov taking away the Tiger Sharks' potential for getting even more. It's been a successful night here at Wagoner Pool for the home team. Now for the 100-yard freestyle. Just one heat in lane 2, Kaylee Sticka. Lane 3, Kiara McGee. In lane 4, Sophie Derby. Lane 5, Cypress Wilkinson. Lane 6, Kate McCown. And lane 7, Kaylin Kelly. The two fastest seed times for this event both go to the Falcons. Kiara McGee in lane 3 and Cypress Wilkinson in lane 5. Sophie Derby, though, so far has been the girl to look for right now in the pool for Ouachita as she goes into this final 50 with a slight advantage. It's going to take all her might, though, to take down McGee, who is barely taking over in this third 25. But you see over in the far lane, Kate McCown, the senior, showing the young folks how it's done. Can she finish off in first? Yes, she can. Kate McCown, the outside smoke for the senior. Finishing in second is McGee. Now moving on to the men's event, though, we only have one heat. Lane 1, Tyler Bell for Ouachita. Lane 2, Jacob Lewis for Ouachita. Lane 3, Ben Johnson for Montevallo. Lane 4, Sam Ragsdale for Ouachita. Lane 5, Jimmy Frank for Montevallo. Lane 6, Landon Den for Ouachita. And lane 7, Caleb Guthrie for Ouachita. Sam Ragsdale, the man to watch in the pool right now for Ouachita in lane 4. The junior out of Columbia, Missouri, has been a sprint master for this squad. After the first 50, it's him by over a second. Sam Ragsdale. This is his race to win, and he's doing it here. With no Kaleshnikov to battle, it's him versus Frank. But over in lane 2, Jacob Lewis. He's hoping to gain second, but Sam Ragsdale. Give him a 46-2, and folks, he's not even in a tech suit. Lane 5, Jimmy Frank is going to take second, and Jacob Lewis, what a performance for the senior. That'll be third for him. Ouachita going 1-3 here. Now for the women's 100-yard backstroke. One heat of it as well. Lane 2, Tiffany Nordstrom for Ouachita. Lane 3, Maya Krawczyk for Montevallo. Lane 4, Jamison Tankersley for Ouachita. This is her event. She's going to be the one to watch. Lane 5. That'll be Petra Kathis. Meanwhile, in lane 6, the freshman Lindsay Taylor. Swimmers are in the water. Going back to Tankersley, though, a seed time of 57.1 is the fastest over the field, but Krawczyk and Kathis next to her, very close behind. But so far, Montevallo swimmers have yet to get close to their seed time, so we'll see if Tankersley can take the easy win here. She starts off quick as that turn. What a first turn for Tankersley, and what a statement made by the junior. After the second turn, Tankersley relinquishing just a tad bit, as next to her, Kathis battling. Petra Kathis wants to take the win from Tankersley. This final 25 is going to be crucial. Going into the turn, Kathis has the lead. Does Tankersley have enough left in the tank? Petra Kathis, she's taking a little bit more of an advantage. Can Tankersley do it? And it's going to go Kathis, then Tankersley, and then in lane 6, Lindsay Taylor. That 1:02 for her is enough to get her third place. So Ouachita is going to take second and third. Big win for Montevallo there to maybe move up a little bit on the Lady Tiger Sharks. Now for the men's event, we've got heat 1 of 2. In lane 3, David Pinnell. Lane 4, Jack Hoyne. And lane 5, Bennett Bibza, all for the Tiger Sharks. Bibza, another swimmer to look out for in this event. Both him and Hoyne, two prominent backstrokers on this squad. Pinnell also has shown his prowess in the event as well. After the first turn, it's anybody's game. Pinnell Pinnell did flip first, but quite possibly could have been just a little bit too far from the wall there. So right now it's all evened up, even though Pinnell might have gone into the wall a little bit sooner. But into this final 25, it's between Hoyne and Pinnell, but what an underwater by Hoyne. Looks like Hoyne is going to grab it here. No! David Pinnell, what a finish, and he's gonna take the win by just over 1/10 of a second. What a performance by the sophomore Pinnell. He's gonna finish in a 58.7. That's just a 1.5 seconds over his season best. So good things to come for him. Meanwhile, for Heat 2, in lane 2, James Savarese for Ouachita. Lane 3, Derek McDonald for Montevallo. Lane 4, Austin Stone for Ouachita. He's coming off a conference swimmer of the month, so look out for him. In lane 5, Elijah Allen for Montevallo. Lane 6 for the Tiger Sharks, David Ware. And then in lane 7, Chase Fisher for Montevallo. The swimmers are off, and your man to watch, the freshman, Austin Stone. Also, don't take your eyes off Ware or Savarese as well for the Tiger Sharks. Savarese yet to put up a time for his team in the 100 backstroke. Meanwhile, Ware, his seat time is a 53.5, which would put him as the 3rd fastest swimmer in this event this season. Elijah Allen, also a guy that can win this one. Going into this second 50, though, it's all outside smoke. In lane 6, it's David Ware, and then in lane 2, it's James Savarese. And the winner goes to the sophomore, David Ware, 53.2. That's 53.6, just over his season best. Meanwhile, Savarese with a 55.1. And in lane 4, Austin Stone is going to gain 3rd. So 1, 2, 3 goes the Tiger Sharks. Now moving on to the women's 500-yard freestyle. Shortly, we will be joined by senior captain for the men's team, Miles Schultz, and then also senior for the Tiger Sharks, Kate McCown. But going into this 500 freestyle, lane 2, Britta Andrus. Lane 3, Ella Brooke Beasley. Lane 4, Anna Phelps. Lane 5, Zena Zanders. And lane 6, Elise Henderson. And now we are joined by senior captain and All-American Miles Schultz. Great to have you here, Miles. And, great meet so far for you guys. But, before we start off with, talking about the team, I just quickly want to ask, how'd that 200-yard freestyle feel?
Oh boy. Yeah, no, we're not going to talk about that. No, it was fun. I dove off the block, and I was like, man, this is going to be really good. And then I hit the wall, and I was like, okay. Could have been better, but that was just for fun.
And Miles, now kind of moving into this team this season, me being a member of the team for the past 2 years, I don't think I've seen a swim team here in Arkadelphia as good as this Ouachita squad is this year. Just talk about the development and then just the young guys that have come in and really been big for you guys.
Yeah, no, for my freshman year, the team has changed a lot, both in just team mentality, team morale, and both obviously the speed. Being that I'm a senior now, seeing the freshmen kind of step up is both. I'm happy to see that, and I'm happy that the team is still moving, in a upward motion in terms of speed. Our freshmen have a lot of potential, and they're very fast, and I'm very excited to see what comes up here at conference in the next couple weeks. Or I guess I think we're 6 weeks out today, I think. But no, I'm really excited to see what they have to offer. Practices we're always going at it at practice. We just got off of our Christmas training block, and we worked really hard, and I'm very happy with all of our effort that we put in.
And Miles, now you talked about the team, but obviously when we're talking to you, we've got to talk a little bit about breaststroke. obviously last year we saw you have that success at nationals, getting your first All-American in that. Just talk about that experience, and then how you hope to rebound off that and do even more this year.
Yeah, no, I definitely learned a lot about myself and about swimming at NCAAs. It was a lot of fun, and I'm really excited to see what I can do this year. This year I've already had some pretty good swims that could potentially get me to nationals. So now I'm just trying to focus on that. That's kind of the next step. I have conference and then that. So we're really looking to train especially hard now. I'm really excited to see what I can do, especially being the fact that I went some faster times at our midseason meet. That's not as expected to go best times then, but luckily I did. So I'm really excited to see what's to come in the future.
And then finally, I just want to finish off with this big blanket statement about conference. What is the goal for conference, and then what is the final goal for this season, other than just a straight-up championship for you guys?
Obviously, like you said, winning conference is the overall goal. But I think as a team, just staying together as one. Sometimes these longer meets, 4 or 5 days, you could get tired, you can get mad at each other. But I think just staying together as one, as a group, is the key. It's always been our goal. So I think that's what we're aiming for. Especially this year, now that we know that we have a shot at winning. It's just keeping the team together on those last 2 days, because those last 2 days are the days that matter. It's not the first 3, it's always the last 2, because that's when people break. And obviously, past that, we want to bring a team this year to nationals. Last year we had 3 swimmers and a diver. This year we want to bring up to 10 swimmers and as many divers as we can. I think we have 2 qualified right now, or 1 qualified, and then 1 that is half qualified. So we're looking to have 2 divers at the moment, and we can potentially have over 10 this year swimming nationals. So we're really excited to see what happens.
Well, Miles, thank you as always for coming on and help talking with us, but then also just for your efforts in the pool and out of the pool with everything you do. And I'll let you get back so that you can join the team for that 200-yard freestyle relay. And
thank you so much.
Thanks for coming on. All right, in just a moment, we're going to have Kate McCown join us. But first, looking into this 500-yard freestyle right now in lane 4. That is all Anna Phelps, and you've seen that from her time and time again this season. These distance events have proven to be her forte. Going into this final 25, no one's going to catch her, and Elise Henderson, the captain of this women's team, is definitely in pursuit of second, and it looks like she's going to take it as well. The Tiger Sharks go 1-2, and then in third for the Lady Falcons is going to be Zena Zanders. Washita goes 1-2-3. Lane 2, Britta Andrus channeling her inner Tyler Andrus and taking third. But now we're gonna send the headset on over to Kate McCown. And Kate, we can go ahead and talk about your meet as a whole tonight, just because you've already finished up all your races. Obviously, we can talk about that relay. We can talk about how successful your 1,000 was, but one thing I really want to ask about is that 100-yard freestyle. Congrats on the win. Just talk about what you were thinking about in that race, and then how you're able to finish off in first place.
Honestly, I didn't even know I was swimming the 140 until the day before, and then I was surprised because normally I swim distance. So in my head, I thought, oh, I just take off a 0 from the 1,000, so I swim the 100. And I was excited to swim a sprint event and just to see what I could do. And as I was swimming, I just thought, spin my arms, but I've also been really working on my underwater kicks as well. So I was working on that.
And you finished off taking the win. So for those listening, Kate McCown might be out to take your spot in the sprint events this year. As you know, Kate, you've kind of made yourself known on this team as the Iron Woman. Every single time, Coach Bostic just relentlessly throwing you in just the hardest events. I remember my sophomore year, maybe my freshman year, just talking about how there are many times that you've been in the 400 IM, the 500, and the 1,000 all at one meet. And guys, Kate does it without any complaining. Just talk about your mentality going into these events and how you're able to just keep a cool and calm collected mentality through all of it?
Honestly, I love doing it for the team, and it is so cool to watch as you're swimming when you breathe to the side and just seeing your teammates on the side cheering for you is just great, and just knowing that they have your back and you have your back. And I think that our team has a really good, just like we cheer for each other, and we always try and just own the pool deck with our cheering.
And that's something the Tiger Sharks have succeeded at for many years now. And, you know, Kate, obviously you do the distance events, but also you've got great teammates alongside you that you've talked about. So with this women's team, where you started at, you're a senior now, obviously, and you've been here for some time. So talk about kind of the change from your first year here and then how this team has developed now to where you guys claiming your first ever top 25 position earlier this year.
I think just each year is always different with some people leaving, but then we also get a new group. So there is a little bit of, at the beginning of the year, getting to know each other, and I know the women's team does a lot of just team building activities, and I think that really brings us closer together. And with it being a smaller group, it has grown over the years. But we are just a very tight-knit group, and we love to do it for each other, and we have each other's back.
And then finally, I asked Miles the same exact question, but looking towards conference, we're just about a month away now, which is crazy to think about. But what is the end goal for the team other than just straight out winning conference? Because I know that's the goal at the end of the day, but what is the goal besides that for you guys?
I don't actually know exactly, but I think one thing that we try and do, as I mentioned earlier, is owning the pool deck and just having other teams see us and being a group and having each other's backs, and whether that's good races or bad races, we can get back up for the next race and do it again for the team.
And that's exactly what you're going to get from Kate every single day. Not just great teammates, but also she's going to bring home some trophies as well. And that's exactly what she's got her head on. And I kind of almost expect that from both of you guys, and that's what I've gotten is from the first answer I always get from both you and Miles, and that's the sign of a good team, is when you ask, what do you guys want other than a championship? You guys always ask, is there anything else? And, you know, going into this championship season, that's exactly the mentality to have. Thank you so much, Kate, for sitting down with us, and I'll let you go back down to cheer on your team, but you know, congrats on a great night, and just congrats for the rest of the season.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And then now finishing up this event, just a little left, and it's all for the Tiger Sharks right now. Tyler Andrus, just like his sister in the last event, is taking some success for his squad. And one thing I mentioned earlier about Andrus in the 200, one thing you're going to notice about him in the 500, every single 25 looks exactly the same. You see him take a turn here, he's going to take 2 dolphin kicks, and he's going to be up. And there he is right there. The battle here looks to be for second right now between lane 5 for Montevallo, Ethan Brewer, and Jambor Budosho, the sophomore for Ouachita. And Budosho, look at that kick, and he's definitely got himself an advantage going into this final 25. It's Budosho and Brewer. And it's Budosho. Time of 4:56.41, taking down Brewer by just 0.4 of a second. Meanwhile, Tyler Andrus leaves nothing left to the imagination. He's going to take first by a wide margin. Ouachita, they go 1-2-4 with Stefan claiming fourth in lane 2. With those distance events done, just want to go ahead and thank the seniors for Ouachita. Also thanking Elise Henderson. We tried to get her up here as well, but with just the meet going so quickly, we wanted to give swimmers adequate time to be able to get back in the pool and get warmed up after this. And so thank you to all the seniors that were able to come up here and talk with us, and just all the ones that have not been able to as well. Now though, we are nearing very close to the end of this meet, and folks, looks like we're going to get done just a bit early. An anticipated finish time of 9:30, but we've only got 4 events left tonight, so just a incredible job by assistant coach Dawson Pritchard for running this event so smooth, not just very smoothly, but also very quickly. Now stepping on the block for the 100-yard breaststroke. In lane 4, Abigail McMahon. In lane 5, her younger sister Monica McMahon, and in lane 6, Adele Brandrup. So the moniker of McMahon's here versus Brandrup, hoping to gain their team's points. And after the first turn, it is all Abby McMahon. Her younger sister has a seed time just a second faster, so both of these girls very quick at the breaststroke, hoping to win this one. Meanwhile, looking forward to this next heat in lane, it'll be for Ouachita, Casey Lopez and Emma Ballantyne, the freshman and senior respectively. And it is all Abby McMahon right now. She came to swim today, and she's definitely got a little bit more of than a body length over her sister, but nevertheless, as many of the young people would say, they ate and left no crumbs in this event, as the moniker of McMahon's goes 1-2 in this first heat. Now coming up in heat 2, in lane 3, it'll be Tabitha Nalepa. In lane 4, Casey Lopez. Lane 5, Hannah Person. Lane 6, Emma Ballantyne. And lane 7, Isabel Harris. The woman to watch out for Montevallo, lane 5, Hannah Person. She's coming in with a time of 1:05.1. Incredible for her. And then for Ouachita, Casey Lopez, the freshman, has definitely turned heads this season for her team, giving her squad a much-needed boost in the breaststroke. First time that we've seen an under 110 100 breaststroke for the Tiger Sharks from someone not named Keely Holcomb or Anna Phelps in some time. And coming out quickly is Lopez. What a first 25 for her. And after that pullout, she has a solid advantage on Person so far. Into the second 50, it's still the freshman. What this final 50 is going to come down to is who can maintain their pullouts and still keep the speed going. You don't want your pullouts to be too short, because if your pullouts are short, then you're not going to get as much pull as you would have wanted. But if they're too long, then you're going to have the opposite effect. And so Lopez here doing a great job at coming up right when she needs to, not trying to get too much out of those pullouts, or not taking full advantage of said thing. As Lopez, what a time for her. She's going to replicate her season best. Actually, she's going to drop off her season best. That's just under 0.2 of a second drop. Folks, she's not in a tech suit. Casey Lopez, what a time for her. And what a win for the Lady Tiger Sharks. They go 1-3 as Emma Ballantyne finishes in a time of 1:13.31, and this Ouachita squad is just going mental tonight. And folks, while the sun set multiple hours ago here in Arkadelphia, the sun has definitely now not set on the success here at Wagoner Pool. Now though, going into the men's event, lane 1, Ethan Smith for Ouachita. Lane 2, Theo Scarpino for Ouachita. Lane 3, Derek McDonald for the Falcons. Lane 4, Justin Olette. He's the man to look out for Ouachita. Lane 5, Enrique Lorenz for Montevallo. Lane 6, Angel Medina for Ouachita. And in lane 7, Knox St. Amant for Montevallo. Justin Olette, the guy to look out for. Another great success story for Stephen Bostic. Olette came into Ouachita with a 103 as his best time in the event. And since then, now in his third year for the Tiger Sharks, he has dropped 5 seconds in the event, and just a great product of an incredible shoot on that breaststroke, as you see the speed on the turn as well. And Justin Olette continuing to win this one, but right behind him, Lorenz, he wants to catch up. Olette says, no thank you, I'll take my sub-minute time in a Speedo. Lorenz is gonna gain second, and then in third, lane 1, Ethan Smith is gonna take third, and then fourth goes to Medina. So Ouachita goes 1-3-4, and now folks, we've got ourselves 2 Tiger relays to finish off the night. First off for the women in the 200-yard freestyle relay, lane 3 is Montevallo, lane 4 Ouachita, lane 5 Montevallo, and lane 6 is Ouachita. The 2A relays are in the 2 middle lanes, and leading off for Ouachita will be Britta Andrus in lane 4, and then Zena Zanders in lane 5. This will be a battle of the freshmen up front in the middle. In the 200-yard freestyle relay, one of the most fun events to watch in college swimming, it's just 450 freestyles, so you have to bring your fastest swimmers and hope you have a lot of depth, because that's exactly what the relays are for, to display a team's depth. And right now, Britta Andrus, the freshman, putting on a great start for her team in lane 4, as she's going to send it off to Sophie Derby, and Zena Zanders, another great performance, sending it off to Alexandria Morgan for Montevallo. Sophie Derby, she's got herself just under a body length for the Lady Tiger Sharks, but Morgan closing in on the sophomore. Coming up for Ouachita, Rachel Del Angel. Meanwhile, for Montevallo in lane 5, it'll be Maya Krawczyk. And Rachel Del Angel. For a second there, you might have thought that Montevallo was going to catch up, but Rachel Del Angel continuing to show her sprint prowess, and she's going to send it off to Keely Holcomb to finish it off for her team. Holcomb, while a great IMer and a great distance swimmer, also a great sprinter, she can do it all in the pool, and here she is, and she's going to finish off in the B relay. And Monica McMahon has something to say about the A relay taking second. And Keely Holcomb is going to finish off in first for the A relay, and Montevallo is going to take second barely, almost allowing Monica McMahon to catch up over on the outside. Now, folks, we've got 2 heats of relays. Head coach Stephen Bostic wanting to have a little fun on the night. In heat 1, it's all Ouachita, folks. Three relays, all Ouachita relays, and there's 4 more Ouachita relays to go. Leading off in lane 3, Blaze Hood. In lane 4, Tyler Steffen, and in lane 5, Jack Hoyne. Coach Bostic went ahead and decided, if you can swim, you can do the 200-yard freestyle relay, giving his entire team some experience on those relay starts. Bit of some technical difficulties here. You do see 4 swimmers up on the blocks. Question, all you can do is question, but I'm reading off what it says on the heat sheet, so You do see Redmond stepping down. Might have just been a bit of translation error there. Oh, no. No, he is going to step up, actually. So, looks to be Ian Redmond over in lane 6. So they're off. For those that have just tuned in, it is Washita, 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 and Ian Redmond is going to start off quickly for the Tiger Sharks. Looks here like it was just a little bit of a translation error or something, but you do see those guys wearing tech suits. So possibly going for a season best as you see Ragsdale step up. No, that's David Ware. This is the A relay, folks. And they're deciding that they're going to put their times up here because they want that pool record. And Ragsdale, what a time for him, and he's going to finish off with a 1:22.4. What a great time. Not quite sure if that's the pool record or not. Nevertheless, we're going to have our second and final heat of the night. Looks like the A relay will not be in attendance, but based on Washita's success tonight, the B relay doesn't need their help to win this event. So, in lane 3, leading off Ian Redmond. No A relay in lane 4, but in lane 5, it'll be Jimmy Frank leading off for Montevallo. In lane 6, Michael Higgins for Washita. In lane 7, Austin Stone for the Tiger Sharks. The thing to look out for here is going to be Jimmy Frank. He's the dude that has been an incredible sprinter for his team tonight, and he gives his team a quick lead to start. Right now, though, for Washita, it's not the B relay that's leading, it's the C relay. Right now, Jambor Budosho at the front, but the B relay and Vince Paul have something to say about that. Miles Schultz, now we talked to him earlier, he's in the pool for the B relay. Meanwhile, the A relay and James Savarese, we've talked about Savarese before in that 400 free relay, but now for the C relay, can he replicate that success in the 50? He's gonna send it off to Ethan Sparks. Meanwhile, Schultz is gonna send it off to Fernando Bastillo. It's Bastillo and Sparks who can take the win. It's Washita on Washita, and the D relay says, hey, let's take down the A relay while we're at it. It's Walker Bridenstine versus Tope for Van Gorder. So Washita goes B first place, C second place, and the D relay is gonna take third place. So like we said, Washita goes 1, 2, 3, 4 in the relays. What a night for the team at a Wagoner Pool. And folks, I don't think I've seen a more dominant performance than tonight here at Wagoner Pool. With the final scores now just loading up, we'll wait to see how this final event tabulates into the score. So the Ouachita A relay actually taking a disqualification since they did run out, but Ouachita goes 1, 2, 3. The C relay actually taking first in that event. So with the final scores all tabulated, on the men's side, Ouachita wins 147-54. Meanwhile, on the women's side, it's just 1 point difference. Ouachita is going to win 146-55. So what a night here at Waggoner Pool. We've just eclipsed the 9 o'clock mark. It's 9:08. So for those still watching, thank you for tuning in to the Ouachita Sports Digital Network. Ouachita wins on both sides here at Waggoner Pool. And for those who want to catch more swimming action, next week we've got ourselves a great week for swimmers. The Battle of the Ravine will be right here on the Ouachita Sports Digital Network, starting at 5 p.m. next Friday. The most anticipated swim meet of the season here from Waggoner Pool, and I will be here live for more commentary for that. Meanwhile, for those who are wanting to just catch up on all the OSDN action, we'll have a radio broadcast of the Battle of the Ravine at Henderson in the Duke Wells Center next week on Thursday, and then on Saturday, stay tuned for a plethora of basketball games for Ouachita. But for those who have tuned in tonight, thank you so much for watching. Your final score for both sides: Ouachita on the men's side wins 147-54, and then on the women's side 156-55. This has been Isaac Bourne. Thank you so much for watching. God bless and have a good night.